The phone rang at 2:13 a.m. Not a buzz, not a vibration, a full volume ring. I shot up from the couch, the TV still murmuring in the background. My heart dropped into my stomach when I saw St. Vincent ER on the caller ID. My palms were already sweating before I answered. Mr. Carter? This is Dr. Patel from St. Vincent's. Your son, Tyler, he's here. There was an accident. He's in critical condition. You need to come right away. I barely remember grabbing my keys or how I drove. It was a blur of red lights and silent prayers. My mind kept replaying his face, his goofy smile, the way he'd laugh with a snort when he found something funnier than it really was. Tyler. My kid. My boy. When I got there, they took me straight to ICU. The nurse warned me he's conscious, but weak. He wanted to see you. I walked in, and the sight of him nearly took my knees out. Bandaged head. IVs everywhere. Machines beeped in slow, deliberate rhythm. Dad, he croaked, barely audible. I'm here, buddy. I'm here. He reached for my hand and pulled me closer. Then he whispered something that didn't make sense at first. Something I had to lean in again to really hear. I came home earlier, caught Mom, with some guy. They were talking about getting rid of you. My chest tightened. What? I tried to record it. They saw me. Tried to grab my phone. I ran. Then the car. It hit me like a truck. Not just the affair, but the idea that Alyssa, might have actually planned something. That they were talking about getting rid of me. He passed out a few seconds later. Alarms beeped. Nurses rushed in. I stepped back, stunned, my whole world twisting into something unrecognizable. Alyssa. My wife. The woman I built a life with. The woman who said forever in front of everyone we knew. She had someone in my house? While our son could walk in at any moment? And getting rid of me? What the F*** did that even mean? The fury didn't come right away. First came numbness. A slow burn of disbelief crawling under my skin like acid. I walked out of that hospital with shaking hands and a calm face. But inside, I was already rewinding every damn moment of the past few months. The cold shoulder. The fake laughs. The girl trips with no photos. The sudden love for gym leggings and phone screens turned downward. Her voice saying, "You're paranoid," when I asked who she was texting at 11 p.m. I wasn't paranoid. I was being played. And my son nearly died because of it. You ever feel like your brain just switches modes? Like something inside you flips, and suddenly you're not the same man you were the day before? That was me in that hospital parking lot. Standing in the shadows with fists clenched, watching the streetlights flicker on. I'd spent years providing. Years swallowing my pride, dealing with her moods, her tantrums, her twisted way of turning everything around on me. And now I knew why. She didn't respect me. She never had. But now it wasn't just my pride. It was Tyler. They tried to hurt him to cover their tracks. And that crossed a line you don't come back from. I went home that night like a soldier returning to enemy territory. The house was dark. Her car was in the driveway. Not a scratch on it. She was probably in bed, wrapped in the expensive sheets I bought, dreaming of her next lie. I didn't go in guns blazing. I walked in quiet, observant. Shoes in the hallway, hers, and a pair of men's sneakers I didn't recognize. My heart beat slow, cold. Voices upstairs. I moved step by step like a shadow, listening. Her laugh. A man's murmur. Then silence. And then, her voice soft, smug. He almost found out last week. We need to finish this before he becomes a problem. Finish this. I stood there, frozen, staring up at the dark staircase. I couldn't see their faces, but I didn't need to. I knew every corner of her twisted little mind. And now I knew one more thing. She didn't just betray me. She tried to erase me. I left the house without saying a word. You might think that was weakness, that I should have stormed in, torn the whole place apart. But that's not how you fight this war. I've been trained for moments like this. No one threatens my family and walks away untouched. She just lit a fire under a man who'd been quiet too long. And the quiet ones? We burn the slowest. But we burn everything. I didn't sleep that night. I drove around for hours, headlights bouncing off empty streets, my mind spinning through every memory, every lie. Alyssa had smiled at me just yesterday like nothing was wrong, kissed my cheek, made her stupid green smoothie, and told me not to forget to grab dog food. Like we were just another suburban couple doing life together. But that's the thing about liars. They don't hide the truth, they dress it. They put lipstick on betrayal and serve it with eggs and coffee. They look you dead in the eye while they sharpen the knife behind your back. I went back to the hospital before sunrise. Tyler was still unconscious, but stable. The nurse said he'd be monitored through the day. I stood by his bed for a long time, gripping the metal rail, staring at my son's pale face. He was just a kid. He didn't ask to be part of this madness. And now he was in a hospital bed because his mother and her new boyfriend couldn't keep their hands in their conspiracy to themselves. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about heartbreak anymore. This was war. I left the hospital with a mission. First, I needed to know who the hell this guy was. The one Alyssa brought into my home. The one planning to get rid of me like I was trash in the back of a pickup truck. I started simple, our home security cameras. Most were fake, decorative for show. But one by the garage worked. I'd installed it myself a year ago after someone broke into our neighbor's car. I logged into the feed from my phone. My breath stopped. There he was. Broad shoulders. Baseball cap. Tall. Clean shoes. Same guy I'd seen sneakers from the night before. I screen captured his face, grainy but clear enough. I didn't recognize him. Next step, Alyssa's laptop. I knew her password. She was arrogant that way. Same code for everything. Tyler's birthday. Funny how she used our son's life to cover up her lies. Email. Text sync. Messenger. She was careless. There were dozens of messages. He's clueless. You make me feel alive again. Let's go away after. We just have to be patient. He'll be out of the picture soon. That line. Again. Out of the picture. She said it like I was a painting on a wall she could just take down and burn. I kept reading. The guy's name was Derek. Apparently a personal trainer she met at her gym. Classic. She always had a thing for attention. Tight abs, tattoos, whispering fake fantasies between protein shakes. What twisted me the most was how often she mocked me. Nick still thinks I'm into him. Bless his boring little heart. I swear he folds laundry like it's his job. Useless except for paying bills. She was laughing at me. Using me. For years. And I never saw it. I closed the laptop slowly, forcing my hands not to shake. My chest felt like it was being crushed from the inside out. I sat there in silence, listening to the house breathe around me. I had loved this woman, given her everything. But to her, I was a placeholder. A sponsor. A fool. She came home around noon. Hair done. Nails fresh. Shopping bag on her arm. She didn't expect me to be there. I was supposed to be at the hospital. Sitting in fear. Wondering. Suffering. I didn't say a word when she walked in. Just watched. She blinked once. Then smiled. Like she hadn't just set fire to our entire life. Oh hey, babe. How's Tyler? That smile. It was a weapon. And that's when I knew. She still thought she was in control. She thought I'd never do what she feared most. Wake the hell up. Better than you're going to be, I said, quietly. She tilted her head. What's that supposed to mean? But I didn't answer. I just smiled back, colder than she ever thought I could. Alyssa leaned against the kitchen island like she owned the world, one perfectly manicured hand holding an iced coffee. Her fake smile was still painted across her lips, but I saw it now, the cracks beneath the gloss. She was trying to read me. I could tell. I wasn't playing the part anymore. Not the soft husband. Not the provider with the blindfold on. I stood still, arms crossed, watching her like a stranger I just met at a crime scene. Because that's what she was now. A criminal who happened to know my favorite songs. She set the coffee down, tilting her head, eyes narrowing slightly. Nick, what's going on? You look like someone ran over your puppy. She expected a joke. Some pitiful comment to break the tension. I gave her silence. Seriously, babe. Is Tyler okay or not? Don't call me that, I said. Her eyebrows lifted. What? Don't. Call. Me. Babe. My voice didn't rise. It was flat, calm, scarier than yelling. She scoffed and tossed her purse on the counter. Okay, what the hell is wrong with you? I know, Alyssa. She blinked. Know what? I held up my phone. The screenshot of Derek's face lit up the screen. Your boyfriend. Your gym buddy. The one who wore those red sneakers. The guy who thinks I'm disposable. She stared for a second too long. That half second when a liar processes what version of the truth to sell. Then the act began. Oh my God, you've completely lost it. No. I finally found it. She moved closer, putting on her soft voice. Nick, listen. You've been under a lot of stress lately with work and now Tyler. I don't know what you think you saw, but this. You think I'm stupid? I cut her off. He was in my house. With you. Talking about getting rid of me. My son heard it. Your son. Her eyes flickered. She wasn't ready for that. Tyler. He came home early. Heard everything. Tried to record it. You and your little boy toy caught him. He crashed running from you. Her face drained of color. For a moment, I saw the real Alyssa. No makeup. No filters. Just fear. Then she snapped back. He's confused. You know how dramatic he can be. You're going to believe the words of a traumatized kid over your own wife. I laughed. Actually laughed. Don't you dare bring drama into this. This isn't one of your Instagram stories. This is our life, Alyssa. And you turned it into a trash fire. She rolled her eyes, and just like that, the real her returned. God, you are so dramatic. You think this is all about you? Maybe if you hadn't turned into such a pathetic little robot, I wouldn't have needed someone else. There it was. The venom. I took a step back, almost in awe. Wow, you really don't get it, do you? Oh, I get it. You're hurt. Boo-hoo. Maybe now you'll stop acting like your presence is some grand gift to this house. I stared at her, stunned by how easily she flipped the script. I gave you everything, I said, the words heavy. This home. The cars. The vacations. I paid for your mother's surgery. I let you quit your job when you said you wanted to find yourself. And you repay me by dragging some low-rent trainer into my house and plotting to wipe me out like a checkmark on a to-do list? She didn't answer. Just stared. Her jaw tightened. You think this is over? I asked, voice low. No, Nick, she snapped. It's just getting started. She grabbed her keys and marched to the door like a queen storming out of her kingdom. But before she left, she turned and dropped her final poison. Oh, and by the way, Derek's not just stronger than you. He's better than you. In every way. She slammed the door. And I stood there. Not broken. Not angry. Just aware. She didn't love me. She never had. But now, for the first time in years, I loved myself enough to do something about it. The silence after she left was heavy, like the house was holding its breath, waiting to see what I'd do. I didn't move for a long time. I stood in the same spot, staring at the front door, still half expecting her to walk back in with some sarcastic grin, acting like the whole thing was a bad dream I should just get over. But she didn't. She was gone. For now. And I was finally alone with the truth. There's something eerie about realizing you've been living in a lie. Like walking through your childhood home and suddenly noticing the walls were made of paper the whole time. Everything felt hollow now. The kitchen where we used to laugh. The couch where she curled up to watch crime shows, probably taking notes. Even the bed we shared, where I'd once traced her spine with my fingertips and thought it meant something. It was all a lie. But I still had one thing left, clarity. I walked upstairs and opened Tyler's bedroom. His posters were crooked, his gaming headset tossed carelessly on the chair. But what got me was the phone, his cracked phone on the nightstand. The hospital gave it to me earlier when they cleaned out his pockets. I picked it up and opened the gallery. There it was. A 32-second video. Blurry at first, then shaky but clear enough. Alyssa's voice. Derek's laugh. And that one sentence that sealed everything. If he finds out, it won't matter. Nick's not going to be around much longer. That was enough. Enough to destroy them both. I emailed the video to myself and a backup email. Then I sent it to a private investigator I'd used once during a client's background check. His name was Russ McCarthy. Ex-cop. No nonsense. Silent as a ghost. He picked up after 2 rings. McCarthy. Nick Carter. I've got a situation. Involves infidelity, threats, and possibly attempted harm to me and my kid. I'll pay whatever you want. I need dirt. Everything you can find. Fast. He didn't even hesitate. Send what you have. I'll handle the rest. By the time I hung up, something inside me had shifted. I wasn't broken. I wasn't helpless. I was building a case. I'd spent years cleaning up other people's messes, coworkers, family, even Alyssa's disasters. But this mess? This one had my name written all over it. And I was going to clean it up for good. I packed a duffel bag. Essentials. Nothing emotional. I didn't want to be there when she came back. I didn't want another screaming match her fake tears. I left a note on the fridge. Don't call. Don't text. You'll hear from my lawyer. I meant every word. On the way out, I paused by the mirror in the hallway. The man staring back at me looked older than I remembered. Sharper. Hardened. But not dead. There was something alive in my eyes again, purpose. I drove back to the hospital. Tyler was still asleep, but the nurse said he'd woken up briefly and asked if I was okay. I smiled for the first time in days. That boy had more courage in 30 seconds than I had in 3 years of this marriage. I leaned down and whispered to him, "You saved me, kid. You really did. And now it's my turn to protect you. Because this wasn't just about betrayal. It was about survival. And the game had changed. I wasn't the blind husband anymore. I was the man who'd been underestimated one too many times. And I was ready to show them exactly how dangerous that mistake could be. 3 days passed. Alyssa tried calling 16 times. Left voicemails, texts, even emails that danced between fake concern and straight-up manipulation. 1 minute it was, "Nick, I'm worried about you." The next, "You can't just disappear like a child. Grow up." I didn't answer any of them. Not because I couldn't. Because she didn't deserve the sound of my voice. Russ got back to me fast. I met him in the parking lot of a laundromat. Typical. He slid into my passenger seat like we were in some old spy movie, dropped a manila envelope on my lap, and lit a cigarette with fingers that didn't shake. "I've seen some snakes," he said. "But your wife's a damn cobra." Inside were photos, screenshots, a printed chat log, hotel records, bank transfers, even a damn gym membership where Derek was listed as her emergency contact. They were playing house behind my back while draining our joint savings little by little, like termites chewing through the beams of our marriage. "Get this," Russ added. "The guy? Derek Klein. He's got a sealed record in New Mexico. 2 bar fights, 1 domestic report, and a business fraud case that got buried because his cousin's a sheriff." I stared at the photo of Derek flexing in a mirror like a teenager. Alpha poser. Tight shirts, tribal tattoos, probably practiced lines in the bathroom before meeting her. She always fell for charisma over substance. "He's dangerous," Russ warned. "Not smart, but reckless." "And your wife?" "She's either blinded by the thrill or thinks she can control him." I clenched the steering wheel. "They mentioned something about getting rid of me. I want to know if that was real or just talk." Russ took a drag. "I've got ears on her phone now. I'll know soon." It was time to set the trap. That night, I checked into a cheap motel across town. Just a bed, a lamp, and the sound of traffic outside. I opened my laptop and drafted the email that would change everything. No threats. No drama. Just facts. I attached the video Tyler recorded, the chat logs, screenshots, and a final message. To Alyssa Klein. "I see you now. Every lie. Every betrayal. You walked into this with lipstick and charm, but you're walking out with a spotlight on every filthy secret you tried to hide. I'm not scared of you. Or him. And soon, the courts won't be either. Enjoy the show." I didn't send it yet. I scheduled it for the moment she'd least expected. Friday, 7:45 a.m. Right as she'd be walking into her spin class. Right as her little world of ego and curated selfies would come crashing down around her. But before that, I wanted a face-to-face. One last card to play. I made an appointment with a divorce lawyer first thing in the morning. A woman named Dana Graves. Sharp eyes, firm handshake, no patience for drama. "You have everything you need," she said, flipping through the file. Video evidence, financial misappropriation, threats, adultery. "She's not just losing this case. She's going to choke on it." I almost smiled. "Let her come after you," Dana added. "Let her throw her tantrums. But don't blink. Don't respond. The quieter you stay, the louder her desperation gets." That night, I parked outside the house. Lights were on. Derek's car was in the driveway. They were comfortable. Good. I texted her once. "We talk tomorrow. Noon. Neutral place. Come alone." Her reply came fast. "You better not do anything stupid." "Too late, sweetheart." "You already did." Noon. Saturday. I chose a neutral spot, a cafe on the edge of town where the coffee's overpriced and the staff don't ask questions. Big windows. No corners to hide in. Cameras everywhere. And more importantly, no Derek. She showed up 5 minutes late, dressed like she was attending a brunch photo shoot. Oversized sunglasses, high ponytail, tight white blouse with buttons straining for mercy. But her smile? That was the most artificial thing on her. I didn't stand when she arrived. She slid into the seat across from me and didn't even look ashamed. She acted like this was a casual meetup between old friends. "Nick," she purred, removing her sunglasses. "So nice of you to crawl out of your little bunker." I sipped my coffee and didn't answer. She leaned forward, voice low and poisonous. "What exactly is your plan? Ghost me until I get bored? That's not going to work." I pulled out a small black folder and placed it between us. Quietly, firmly, her eyes narrowed. She opened it. The screenshots. The bank transfers. The hotel dates. The printed transcript of the 32-second audio clip. And then, the photo of Derek, sitting in my kitchen, holding a beer with his feet on my coffee table. Her hand froze. Her mouth opened slightly. This isn't. Nick, what is this supposed to be? Reality, I said. Something you've never been good at living in. She flipped the folder closed and pushed it aside like it was garbage. Okay, congratulations. You did your homework. What now? You want me to cry? Apologize? Pretend this wasn't inevitable? I leaned forward. No. I want you to shut up for once and listen. Her eyes flared. You could have left. You could have told me you weren't happy. You could have filed for divorce like an adult. But instead, you brought that half-brained caveman into our home, endangered our son, and plotted something that sounds a lot like a murder attempt. She scoffed. Oh, please. Don't flatter yourself. Nobody was going to kill you. It was just talk. Derek was blowing off steam. And what if Tyler hadn't gotten away? What if he had crashed harder? What if I ended up out of the picture, like you whispered in that recording? Silence. She didn't have a defense. Just that same smug stare, trying to pretend her world wasn't crumbling. You know, I continued, I used to think I failed you. That I wasn't exciting enough. That I worked too much. Talked too little. But now I realize something else. I stood slowly and tossed a napkin onto the folder. You were never worthy of what you had. You weren't bored. You were greedy. She leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. So what now, Nick? You gonna play the victim and run to your lawyer? Take the house? Try to drag me through court? No, I said, calmly. I'm going to take the truth. And let it drag you. I turned and walked out without another word. By the time I reached my car, my phone buzzed. Voicemail from Alyssa. One new message. I hit play. Her voice was shaking now. Not angry. Scared. You're going to regret this. You think you're the only one who knows how to fight dirty? You don't even know who Derek really is. And you're not ready for what happens next. I smiled. Because threats from liars mean they're losing control. And she had no idea that I was 3 steps ahead already. She played her game like a queen. But she forgot. A queen is nothing without her king. Sunday came wrapped in tension. Russ had warned me that cornered people do 2 things. They lash out, or they self-destruct. I had no clue which direction Alyssa would go, but knowing her, she'd probably try to burn everything down and blame me for lighting the match. The morning was quiet. Until around 11 a.m., when my phone buzzed with a text from Russ. Turn on Channel 8. Now. I flipped on the motel TV. Static. Then local news. And there it was. Breaking news. Personal trainer Derek Klein arrested in connection with gym embezzlement scheme and assault allegation. His mugshot filled the screen. Same smug face. Slightly bruised lip. Russ had pulled something big. The anchor kept talking. Klein, who has a history of sealed misdemeanors, was arrested early this morning after a former client came forward with financial records linking him to a fraudulent training scheme. Sources say he's also under investigation for a domestic assault involving a former partner. I sat back and exhaled. Checkmate was getting closer. I called Russ. What did you do? He sounded half amused. Let's just say the universe wanted to help. A woman he used to train came forward when I made a few quiet calls. Once she realized he wasn't Prince Charming, she spilled everything. And the feds were already sniffing around. I just gave them a reason to bite. You're a magician. He chuckled. Nah, just a guy who hates cowards. I hung up and opened my inbox. Right on time, the auto-sent email I'd scheduled for Alyssa's job had gone out. I didn't make it loud. I didn't want to ruin her career. But I did attach the video, the financial records, the phone transcript, just enough to force her employer to ask questions. By noon, Alyssa called again. This time, I answered. You ruined my life, she screamed. No, Alyssa, I replied calmly. You did. I just uncovered the mess you left under the rug. They suspended me. They're talking about investigating me for tax fraud because of those transfers. You used our account to pay for his hotel rooms. Did you think nobody would notice? Or were you just too busy playing Bonnie and Clyde? You smug little, she caught herself, voice cracking. Good. Cracks become collapses. By the way, I added, you might want to check Derek's phone. Pretty sure the cops have it now. You know, the one he used to record your conversations. Silence. You think you're clever, she finally hissed. But you forgot one thing. I still have friends. Connections. Don't push me. No. I'm counting on you being pushed. I hung up before she could say anything else. Then I drove. Back to the house. The same house where she betrayed me, lied to me, planned my erasure like it was some chore on her Sunday checklist. Except this time, I wasn't coming back broken. I walked in, and looked around. It was all still there. Her perfume in the air, framed photos of fake happiness, and the little bowl of keys by the door where Derek used to drop his like he owned the place. I picked up each one and threw them in the garbage. Then I did what she never expected. I packed her things. Every designer shoe, every fake leather purse, every spa receipt I'd paid for. Into boxes. Into bags. Into the reality she tried so hard to avoid. When I was done, I left them on the porch. With a note. You've got 24 hours to get your trash off my property. After that, it's on the curb. She didn't respond, but I knew she saw it. Because 10 minutes later, a black SUV pulled up. And Alyssa? She was finally looking like what she really was. Not a queen. Not a victim. Just a liar left without a throne. Alyssa stepped out of the SUV like she still owned the sidewalk. Black sunglasses. Expensive heels on asphalt. The SUV stayed running, probably Derek's backup plan to get out if things got ugly. Too bad Derek wouldn't be showing up. Last I heard, he was being processed downtown, probably begging someone to make a call. She didn't knock. She just stood on the porch and stared at the boxes like they'd personally insulted her. I opened the door slowly, leaned against the frame. This is what you came back for? I said flatly. She tore off her sunglasses. You humiliated me. No, you humiliated yourself. I just turned on the lights. She scoffed. You think anyone's going to believe you're the victim here? That sweet little Nick Carter got used and thrown away by the big bad wife. Let's test it, I said, pulling my phone from my pocket. Press play on that audio again. Or should I go ahead and live stream it this time? She froze. Her face, always so carefully put together, started to unravel. It was subtle at first, just a twitch of the jaw. A blink held too long, but I knew what I was watching. Collapse. You don't get to erase me, she snapped. I don't have to, I said. You did that all on your own. She pointed a manicured finger at me. You'll regret this. You think this is some victory? I'll take you to court. I'll bleed you dry. You want war? Nick? I'll show you what war looks like. You already did, I said. The night you stood in my kitchen talking about getting rid of me like I was a dirty plate. The war started then. And guess what? I stepped closer. I won. She blinked. Swallowed. Looked down at the boxes. Then back at me. I never loved you, she said. I faked it. Every damn day. There it was. The final knife. But it didn't cut anymore. You think that hurts me? I asked. I feel sorry for you. You wasted years with a man who loved you unconditionally, and all you had to do was be honest. But you couldn't even do that. I motioned toward the driveway. You've got 5 minutes to move this crap. After that, it's public property. Alyssa stared at me like she didn't recognize the man standing in front of her. That was the point. She didn't. Because the man she betrayed was gone. I closed the door and didn't look back. Not when she shouted something I couldn't hear. Not when she threw a box into the bushes. Not when she peeled off in that SUV like some villain escaping a crime scene. Inside, the house was quiet. But not heavy like before. It was peace. Tyler was coming home the next day. Doctors said he was recovering fast. He still had a long road ahead, but he was strong. Stronger than I'd ever given him credit for. I spent that evening in his room, tidying up, moving things around, making space for healing. Then I sat at his desk and wrote something on a piece of paper. A message for him to read when he woke up. You saw the truth when I couldn't. You gave me the strength to fight back. This house? It's ours again. And nothing fake survives here anymore. Love. Dad. When I finally lay down that night, alone in my bed, I didn't feel sad. I felt free. Alyssa taught me what betrayal looks like. What manipulation sounds like. What it feels like when someone kisses you with a lie on their tongue. But she also taught me something else, that no one can break you unless you let them. And I'd stopped letting her the moment I listened. To my gut. To my son. To the silence that held the truth between her words. My advice? Don't wait for the fire to burn everything. Strike the match yourself. And walk away while the smoke clears.